on the Aggie Sports Network. From Learfield, Aggie basketball has been brought to you by Sports Academy and Racket Club. Your club, your results, your life. Zions Bank. For 150 years of helping you succeed, Zions Bank is for you. Ford. Build Ford proud. Also by Stokes. Stokes Trucking. Doing the right thing since 1979. Welcome to Aggie Postgame. From the All-in-One Flooring America radio booth, here's Scott Jerrod.
Well, it wasn't pretty, but hey, there's no such thing as ugly wins. Utah State gets it done tonight to improve to 3-0 in Mountain West Conference play, including 2 road victories against arguably the 2 toughest places to play in the Mountain West Conference, with a huge victory on the road here against Nevada. The Aggies, after losing to UC San Diego, how do they respond? Well, they go to St. Mary's and beat St. Mary's on the road. They go to San Diego State. They beat the Aztecs on the road, and they come here to Lawlor Event Center and beat Nevada on the road. Again, the final 69-64. Your post-game show brought to you by your local Farm Bureau agent, Brandon Jensen. Give him a call at 435-752-4800. It's your future. Let's protect it. These could all very well be quad 1 victories before it's all said and done for Utah State. Now, Nevada, it may not end up being that way. Nevada's really struggled to start the season. Now they're 0-3 in Mountain West Conference play. Not at all what we expected from the Wolfpack. But Utah State, again, playing a game in which they don't start out well. Aggies had a great start to the game, but it was the last 11 minutes of the first half. They only scored 7 points and trailed by 5 at the break after leading by as many as 8. Then Utah State got the lead back and pretty much maintained that lead for the second half. Even though Nevada would make run after run, the Aggies would find a way to end that run. And Ian Martinez, who for the majority of the game did not have a single point until a jumper in the lane got him going. And when I say got him going, he scored the next 17 points for Utah State. He ends up with 17 points on the night, 6 of 11 from the field, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists, as he just continues to make play after play for Utah State, even in a night where things didn't start out well for him, found a way to get it done. By the way, Ian Martinez, our Everlight Solar Player of the Game, again with those 17 points down the stretch. Aggies get outscored Nevada 41-31 in the second half. And joining us now for his post-game conversation is Coach Calhoun. And Coach, those last 11 minutes in the first half were a bit of a struggle for your team. What was the message at halftime? Because you found like you got yourself back into more of who you are in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, we had 10 turnovers, Scotty, in the first half, out of sorts, back-to-back games on the road, but found a way to win, shot 52 and 40 from 3. I thought, Tucker and Mace and Ian offensively just absolutely carried us. This is a good team. As you know, they've got great wins over VCU and various teams, so we knew it was going to be a really difficult game. We didn't rebound the ball as well as I would have liked. You got to give Nevada a lot of credit. They got a great coach, great program. But this team is special. Ian really struggled in the first half. He had 3 turnovers, and I said, we have to value the ball. We take him out. He doesn't sulk. He doesn't pout. He listens. Dex comes in, makes a big shot. Tuck goes in, makes shots. Put Ian back in, and he was really good. And I thought Dayton Albury did a really good job as well. KT and Auburn did a lot of dirty work, setting a lot of screens for those guys that don't go in the scoreboard. But at the end of the day, man, we just won back-to-back road games, at St. Mary's, at San Diego State, and at Nevada. This team is tough as nails. And I think we're all tired, Scotty. We need a break. We need to get back tonight and just rest tomorrow.
Yeah, there's no doubt, too. And when you got Ian Martinez, who went the majority of the game without scoring a single point, but that's what elite players do when they need to put a team on their shoulders. He scored 17 straight points for you down the stretch.
He's a beast. I mean, we were going to him. I was just trying to figure out what the heck I could run for him. Just get him in, isolations on the side pick and rolls. A lot of pin downs. I've asked him a lot of times in the huddle, what do you want? Do you want a flare? Do you want a pin down? Where do you want the ball? Because once he gets it going like that, you just got to ride those guys. Him and Mason have star power. And now with Tuck scoring, it gives us another weapon.
I thought, Tuck went 0 for 4 to start from outside the three-point line, but you could tell he's like, look, if my outside shot's not going, I'm going to drive and try to create. And you can tell the evolution of his game's been fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he can do. I mean, he's 6'8", 6'9". He can shoot threes, obviously, but his first step is really quick, Scotty. So if people close on him hard, he's got to learn to bounce it and just get into that shot or take 2 dribbles and get into the layup. But really happy with the offense in the second half. First half was abominable, and you got to give them credit. I mean, they forced 10 turnovers. We threw the ball all over the gym. So we cleaned that up, and you give yourself a chance to win a game. And I thought down the stretch there was multiple big plays, by a lot of guys. So it's a group effort.
Yeah, no doubt. 18 assists on 24 made buckets. You really moved the ball around well in this game.
Yeah, I mean, second half was really, really good. In our defense, a lot of talk is made of other teams in our conference about their defense. The Aggies' defense is as good as anybody in this league. So we're going to be in every game, every night, if we guard. We have to decide and, get guys off the line. This is a great three-point shooting team. We held them to 30%. They shoot 41% on the year. They're third in the country statistically. To hold them 11 points under their average is just tremendous. So, like I said, man, I think we're all tired. We've been on the road for a while now. We stayed out here. Hopefully there's a few people listening back home. I'm sure Tan Tuller and others. Happy New Year, and we're going to be happy to get back to Logan. I know
Nick,
that.
Tan, hey, we love you.
Yes, that's right.
Coach,
let's get the heck out of
let's
here,
get the
Scotty.
heck
I'll
out
see
of
you on
here.
the bus.
You got
love
it.
you, buddy.
There he is, Jerrod Calhoun. Utah State gets the win tonight. Final score in this one, 69-64.
You were there, you watched the game, or you heard it all here on KVNU. So now it's your chance to give your thoughts and ask your questions about the action as KVNU Aggie Game Day continues with Aggie Call. The phone line is 435-753-KVNU. The text line is 435-554-1175. KVNU Aggie Game Day is brought to you by Daryl's Appliance, Advanced Heating and Air, Primrose Home Care and Hospice, Blue Sky Restoration, Advanced Garage Door, The Logo Shop, Advanced Fireplace and Stove, Golden Spike Electric, Alpine Home Medical, S.E. Needham Jewelers, My Mattress, Riverwoods Conference Center, Cache Valley Bank, Aegis Healthcare, Jarek's Fine Jewelry, Les Olson IT, Adams Wealth Advisors, DD Auto and Salvage, LSS Insurance Agency, Cafe Sabor, The Sportsman. It's KVNU Aggie Call with J.D. Walker and Stockton Jukes.
It is a beautiful night in Cache Valley. New Year's Eve, it's a blue A here in Cache Valley. The Aggies take down the Wolfpack 69-64. J.D. Walker, Stockton Jukes, Eric Franson joining us as it is a great night. Stockton, first thoughts tonight? How you doing? Are we feeling better? The first half, though, it was a lot like the last game. We were angry. We were mad. I had to go for a walk. And Ian Martinez is the New Year's Eve savior here in Cache Valley. So thoughts, Stockton?
Well, first thing I have to say, I just got to get this out of the way. Hey, Steve, we came to Lawlor. We did. We showed up, and we won. That was a rough first half. But, again, only being down by 5 after that first half with the crazy amount of turnovers, just a poor ball handling. You had some really good inlet passes that just get fumbled left and right in that first half. And I've said it all year. I trust in Jerrod Calhoun and what he does at halftime. This is a second-half team. We saw it again tonight, and I really wish it didn't take Ian Martinez 30 minutes to warm up. But, man, once he did, that was all we really needed is him to show back up. I also love this new iteration of Tucker Anderson where a couple people were saying it on social media, but he's just too good to just be a spot-up shooter. He's got such good touch in and around the block, and he does enough physically, too, where he can really surprise some people coming off that shooting guard position. So I'm a huge fan of what he was able to do tonight and the 16 points right behind Ian. I think that this team just continues to get better and better, even if they do have some rough halves. It's a team that's capable of, like I said in the pregame, finding an edge at any point and using it.
Here on Aggie Call, Daryl's Appliance. Why buy from Daryl's? They're your one-stop appliance shop with experienced salespeople, famous appliance repair and replacement parts. Daryl's West on Airport Road. Eric, it's 2 weeks in a row or 2 games in a row where my heart health has been tested a little bit. What did you see from the Aggies, the game? And, it's got to be a smile on your face now.
Oh, big smile. big smile. I mean, this game was played in 3 phases, right? I mean, it was the Mason Falslev phase in the beginning, and then it was the Tucker Anderson phase in the middle, and then Ian Martinez closing it out. I mean, 17 second half points for Martinez. He was a no-show in the first half. Then he explodes, especially late in the second. But then Tucker, his outside shot wasn't falling, but he found other ways to score and contribute and keep his confidence rolling. So what a couple of games back-to-back for Tucker Anderson. And then Ian, I didn't know, was he sick? Was he not feeling well? We didn't see him really do anything in the first half. And then he just starts cooking when it matters the most. Nevada, they are a team that perennially starts slow, and then they eventually get going. We saw that again tonight. But they struggle late because they don't have a closer. Utah State has multiple closers. I mean, what an asset for Utah State and Jerrod Calhoun. He's got multiple guys that are not afraid to go make a big shot when it matters most.
So looking at this, this has got to feel good for Ian, right, Eric? You look at this, he's kind of struggled with his shot a little bit. How do you think this impacts, and, I've kind of jokingly mentioned the Karate Kid references to Coach Calhoun and Mr. Miyagi, but there's something he did because Ian didn't have the rhythm with his shot in the first half, and then the second half, it's like Coach Calhoun gave the pep talk of all pep talks.
Well, I think it's just Ian. He's a shooter. He's a scorer. If it's not working earlier on, it's not like some players, if it's not working, they're cold and they're in a funk and they just can't get out of it. Ian eventually finds a way to get out of it, whether it's at the free throw line or just making a slash to the basket. He eventually gets going, and sometimes it's spread out over the entire game where he contributes. But tonight it was all overloaded in the second half. In fact, you could probably say the second half of the second half is when he really got it going, because Tucker kind of carried it in the middle portion of the game. But, maybe some of that's some adjustments from the coaching staff, some things they saw in the locker room at halftime. But he's just a natural scorer and can find his way to getting points.
The Ag Ship reported at one point 17 points in a row for Ian Martinez. I mean, talk about showing up at just the right time. And I know Tucker and Ian having a big thing, but I think there's a good chance, Eric and Stockton, that Mason could possibly get another player of the week. 14 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and 5 steals for the mayor here in Cache Valley. That's a big performance, Stockton.
Yeah, you can make an argument that, hey, maybe it should go to Ian for that second half performance, but if you take the whole game into consideration, then, Mason's probably going to take the edge here. Now, Tucker, 5 for 9 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3, 5 for 5 from the free throw line with 3 assists. Kind of making a case there as well, but I do think it's probably going to have to stay with Mason, 60% from the field. The free throws, though, very uncharacteristic for him not to be hitting his free throws. Other than that, I think he had another just very good, consistent game. That's a really good game by most starters in the NCAA standards. It's just what we're used to for him now.
Eric, it's kind of crazy that talking about a possible 5th Mason Falslev Player of the Week here at Mountain West. Maybe getting a little too ahead of ourselves, but this is kind of fun. This has been a good night, a great win. Coming back from this road trip, did you see the Aggies coming back with wins over St. Mary's, San Diego State, and the Wolfpack? I mean, realistically?
Well, I thought that they might drop at least one of those 3. Just because we didn't know. We didn't know how this team would respond after a loss. We didn't know how they'd respond in a true road environment, because every other win that they'd had away from the Spectrum was at a neutral site. So we didn't really know. How would they perform in front of a hostile crowd? Maybe there's some advantage that those crowds that they faced were on Christmas break. And so the student sections weren't really there at St. Mary's or at San Diego State or at Nevada. But those were still good crowds. Well, Nevada's home crowd tonight was pretty weak sauce, but generally speaking, those are tough venues to play. I mean, Utah State has a history of not being able to get wins in those venues, and then to go through and get wins at all of them, it's bonkers. I mean, this is such a good coaching staff and the adjustments that they're making, but also such a good, deep, versatile team that they have to work with. It's so fun to watch.
And just kind of cool to see Ian turn it on tonight. You're listening to Aggie Call here on KVNU, brought to you by the Riverwoods Conference Center. Believes in your event should be your way as Cache Valley's largest and most versatile event center. At Cache Valley Bank, mountains await whatever challenges and opportunities you face. Cache Valley Bank is here to support and be your partner along the way. You are here on Aggie Call. If you want to sound off, the text line open, 435-554-1175. And the phone line open, 435-753-5868. That's 5868 KVNU. And just real quick, I know we're celebrating tonight. We're having a good one. It's New Year's Eve, but please be responsible when you're out there. And if you are going to indulge and party with adult party favors, please make sure that you're driving safe and you have a safe way home. Uber it, tow truck it, Lambo Feeties, whatever you got to do.
There's always a DD somewhere in this town, too. There's always something. A DD somewhere.
Yeah, so please be careful as you're out there celebrating. We want everybody to wake up in 2025 with the same happiness that the Aggies gave us tonight on New Year's Eve. Talking to Eric Franson, Stockton Jukes. I'm J.D. Walker here on Aggie Call, and man, Eric really brought it up. The three phases. It was Mason, Tucker, and Ian. It sounds like Crosby, Stills, and Nash, but the 2024 version or 2025 version, kind of one of those things. Looking across the stat sheet, those are the only guys in double figures.
Yeah, there was a discussion that you, I, and Jason had in the conference room during that second half where I kind of mentioned I love the depth and the bench potential of this team for a couple reasons, but one of the biggest reasons stuck out tonight, which is, you've got Tucker starting to find his shot and find his game in the last two games, which is really timely because Ian for the last 3 or 4 games has really struggled. And you have your scoring, it's got to come from some other places. So to have guys be able to step in, you have Dexter Acano and Dayton Albury kind of going back and forth on who's going to carry the load off the bench when everyone else needs a bit of a rest or when everyone's in a bit of a slump. That's what the depth of this team is so good about, and it's a big reason that they were able to hang in there against San Diego State in the second half on Saturdays because they have people they can go to when it's not working for your main guys. You've got guys that can come in and help out and do what needs to be done. And it's not always going to come from the same guy every night, which makes the scouting report that much harder for your opponents to try and game plan against you. Is it can come from so many different places. That being said, we need some more consistency from some of these guys. And the one big sore thumb that I've got to point out now, because it's been going on for most of the season, is something's up with Isaac Johnson. He just has not been who he was in March. He was a huge part of that win against TCU back in March in the tournament and just has regressed this season, and I would love to see him come back. But aside from that, opening shot that he had, it just never looked like he was comfortable down low, never looked like he was comfortable on the ball, and you need more from him in that regard.
I think it might be just a case, just like we see Tucker taking some time to get things adjusted. I've heard that Ian Isaac kind of had that season and then warmed up as it came towards the end of the season. So it's just one of those things. And Eric, how cool is it that we're here just a couple hours before we walk into 2025 and we're nitpicking about somebody, that's having kind of a cold start and not getting in the rhythm yet, knowing that it possibly will be there, and seeing how Coach Calhoun has actually handled some of the players that go through a little cold streak. It's kind of a good place to be for Aggie fans when you look at the fact that the standings-wise, 13-1, 3-0 in conference, and we're talking about somebody getting heated up with their shooting. That's a good place to be at, right, Eric?
Yeah, that's a good place to be. I mean, if that's what we have to come up with to be concerned about, we're in a good spot. I mean, yeah, Isaac. It took Isaac a while last year. He just, I don't know what it is, but he just takes a little bit of time. I don't know if it's just his ability to grasp what the coaches are asking of him, or just going through injuries or what, but he seems to be a bit of a slow burn. But look, this is about the same kind of Isaac Johnson we're seeing this year as we saw last year at this time of the season. Yes, I agree with Stockton. I would have loved to have seen improvement and growth, because if he is engaged, if he is an impact player, holy cow, the ceiling just got a lot higher for the Aggies. But look, they're finding ways despite that, and that's what's so fun about this team.
Yeah, looking through the stats, I think there's a lot of stuff that didn't so much show up when you look at it, kind of the intangibles. But really, Albury and Akano today, the way they just ran, and it was high energy. Another person I want to point out, a little rough, 4 turnovers, but 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, and 3 big blocks for Auburn today against Nevada. I think the scoring and stuff will come. It was just one of those games where I'm looking at that everybody kind of did their own thing and kind of contributed. With only 3 players in double figures, they had to get the ball around there, and it seemed that everybody helped. We'll come back and take a look at some more individual and team stats, plus your reactions. Phone line open, 435-753-KVNU. That's 753-5868. Or you can hit us up on the text line, 435-554-1175. That's 435-554-1175. We'll be back with more Aggie Call after this.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. A few years ago, I saw this sign hanging in a gas station. It said price, quality, service. Pick 2 out of the 3. Now, it's funny, and I did laugh, but at My Mattress, we don't even want to do business unless we can do all 3. Price, quality, and service. We have a 90-day sleep guarantee, 90-day price guarantee, and we will answer the phone if you have a warranty concern. At My Mattress, we deliver, we have financing, we strive to be price, quality, and service every day. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally? Only at My Mattress.
Whether you're a farmer working the fields, a homeowner tackling weekend projects, or a contractor building the next big thing, you need a Kubota machine that works as hard as you do. And Cash Equipment is home to all your Kubota equipment service and parts needs. From plowing fields and clearing land to digging trenches and moving material. Come see why Cash Equipment and Kubota are the choice of champions on the farm, at home, and on the job site. Cash Equipment in Hyde Park and online at cashequipment.com.
Who do you turn to if you want to change out your wood or pellet stove? Advanced Fireplace and Stove. They were voted the gold medalist for Best of Northern Utah for the 4th year in a row in the fireplace retrofit category. Be ready when the government's next wood and pellet replacement incentives pop up. Advanced Fireplace can help you navigate the paperwork. For more information, call Advanced Fireplace and Stove, 752-7272. Online at advancedfireplaceandstove.com.
Advanced Heating and AC, the gold medal winner in the Best of Northern Utah, is teaming up with Carrier Heating and Cooling. Carrier provides you with the best furnace units available. And now is the best time to buy a new unit before the weather turns Cache Valley cold. Financing options are available. Turn to the experts at Advanced Heating and AC and Carrier. Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning at 752-7272. Stop by at their showroom west of DI. Online, advancedheating-ac.com.
Many Aggie fans like to go to the game. Some fans love to yell at the TV, and all fans like to wear a shirt or a jacket with their favorite team's logo. Aggie fans find the best selection of USU logoed apparel at Locker 42. Find yourself an Aggie t-shirt for $10. Locker 42 features Aggie logoed hoodies, jackets, and golf shirts, and a hat wall with over 40 styles. Women's specific apparel, youth sizes for the junior Aggie, and toddler and infant Aggie items as well. Locker 42 is a store for Utah State fans by Utah State fans, and proud to be part of Aggie Nation.
KVNU Game Day continues with Aggie Call. Your chance to talk about today's game. Call 435-753-KVNU or text 435-554-1175.
Welcome back to Aggie Call on KVNU. Kerry Miller for the Bleacher Report. Utah State reeling off consecutive road wins versus St. Mary's, San Diego State, and Nevada to enter 2025 at 13-1 is wild. Aggies are now just one of 5 teams with at least 4 Q1 wins, as well as one of 5 teams with at least 6 Q1 and Q2 wins. It is a great night here in Cache Valley on Aggie Call. You can sound off 435-554-1175 for the text line, or the phone line's wide wide open, 435-753 KVNU. That's 753-5868. Going to jump back over to Eric real quick to get his final thoughts on the night tonight, and then let him go to celebrate New Year's Eve under the blue glow of the A here in Cache Valley. Eric, some of your final thoughts watching the game today, and where do you see this Aggie team stepping next Saturday as they come back home into the Spectrum?
Well, Fresno State's not that good of a team. So I think this will be a celebration, and should be a celebration of Utah State, and celebrate the Aggies and their successes so far. But a couple of things from the stats today, and I know you guys are going to touch on some of these too, so I hope I'm not stealing anybody's thunder. But every starter for Utah State today had a rebound. Every starter for Utah State today had an assist. 3 of the 5 starters had a steal, at least one steal. And then the other big thing that jumps out to me, 20-3, Utah State beating Nevada in fast break points.
Wow.
Utah State got after it. You know, they were stagnant a little bit there in that first half. Nevada went on a 19-6 run to close out the half. Aggies were a little, the offense was stagnating a little bit, but they continued to press and attack, and that is the hallmark of this team. Even though Nevada was bigger and longer at pretty much every position, Utah State continued to attack. And that was, when they do that, we always see good things happen. Not always, some players don't always finish around the rim, but at least they're always putting pressure on the opposing defense. And that's what they did today. They made their adjustments on defense as well. Just another great coaching game today with the adjustments that they made. And then great individual performances too. And I'm glad you brought up Dayton Albury and Dexter Ocano. I thought those two guys had moments where they were fantastic to really help steady the ship for Utah State as well. So really, really excited to see where this team is at.
Hey, Eric, thanks for joining us on Aggie Call. I know you got family and stuff for New Year's Eve. We appreciate you being here with us.
Absolutely. Go Aggies.
That's Eric Franson. You can catch him at Jason Walker on the Full Court Press Monday through Friday on our sister station, The Fan. Joining us tonight is Jayla Moore doing some stuff New Year's Eve. I want to say thank you to Jason, too, also for earlier hanging out with us on Aggie Game Day. Now it's time for you to sound off. You can get your thoughts in 435-554-1175 on the text line, Stockton, and they are stacked and ready to go.
All right, 6001. Tucker's defense and effort is starting to remind me of Carson. Yeah, he was playing like crazy today, and he's a tall kid. He's got some length. It just, when you look at him, it doesn't look like he's very strong or very like physical when you have to go up against him, but he was making some good plays, and it's not necessarily that he'll go up and he'll just run through the body and he'll absorb contact. What he'll do is he'll bait you into going down low, and he'll try and draw you into that, and then as soon as he sees that you are going to go there, he'll just back it up a little bit. Or we saw it earlier, one dribble, spin, and then hit a 10-foot fadeaway in the middle of the key. He'll get you into that situation, but then he's got a plethora of different ways that he can go to the basket out of that. So he is going to be just a phenomenal ball player if we can hang on to him out here in Logan. I really hope that we get to watch him for another 2 seasons.
I tell you what, he's giving me some Pau Gasol vibes with the way he was moving around the rim and doing that. Also, I'm a firm believer that you get a little bit of your confidence back, and that shot at the end of the San Diego State game, and it showed, because from three-point land, he only hit 1 of 5. He was hitting his average. But then he went in down low from the field goal and getting close range and stuff, and you saw a different, more confident Tucker, which spells trouble for the rest of the Mountain West come conference time if he's feeling it. And then you see Ian come in the second half like Superman. I mean, this team, they're doing it, and they're doing it together as a team.
And Tucker's defense, too, to touch on that point, there were a couple times, especially in the second half, where you're watching and one of the keys of that matchup zone is you've got to rotate quickly. You've got to stick with your man, and you've got to be able to shift man to man when those situations do arise. And the way that they're moving around the perimeter, a lot of times you'll see guys rotate. You'll see them switch. You'll see them kind of shuffle in to fill in holes. Tucker made some really good last second rotations that threw off shots just enough to get some of those Wolfpack shooters uncomfortable, and that in tandem with what he was doing on offense and being able to take that shot from the outside and find ways to score inside when that three wasn't hitting for him early on. I love seeing him get more comfortable on the basketball court. That's going to serve us so well. 93-15. So we went to Lawlor, and look what happened. My prediction skills for this are about as good as the crowd was at Reno. I mean, hey, us too. I think I said, 87-72, and Ian Martinez was going to be the first half breakout star. So
you're just
happens.
off by a half.
Yeah. Refereeing again with some wild calls. Okay, that one, not necessarily tonight. There were some questionable calls against us, but we got some calls too. This is not a game to me where you should be complaining about the officiating. Then the final sentence here, it shows that we can still overcome anything and refs don't matter. Also, what was up with the team bar with the wrong colors, blue for Nevada and gray for USU? Why? I have a lot of questions and notes for that production team that I just cannot answer for you, but whoever was running the sound today for that production team fell asleep like 20 times. There are a lot of things that didn't make sense about that broadcast. 25-84 in Reno, and the arena was quiet. That has to take away a little confidence for a team that's already struggling. Oh, for sure. That's one of the first things that JD said when the TV came on. He's like, there's no one there. Yeah. It was empty.
And then it's, like we had student break, you go home with your families and stuff like that. But even here, the student section was opened up at the Spectrum for UC San Diego. And Jason and you said it wasn't packed and going to be as loud as normally, but I still walked out.
It was still double what they had in Reno tonight.
Yeah, triple maybe tinnitus when I walked out of the Spectrum. Can't not wait to see. I know there's probably 3 double negatives.
Saturday's going to be fun because Fresno, like people have been saying, they're not a good team, but coming back from the break, school starts at USU on Monday for the spring semester, so students will be coming back this weekend, and on Saturday night they should all be mostly settled back in. So
they might have a problem finding a ticket because as of
students have to claim their tickets separately from the general public. But
37 tickets remaining.
Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to mention too is there's a big game coming up against Boise State in about 10-11 days on the 11th, which is a week from Saturday. And then the one that everyone is really going to want to be at, and we're going to give you plenty of warning here. You have a little less than 2 months to get your tickets for this one. San Diego State will be in town on February 22nd. It's the second to last home game for Utah State this season. 6 p.m. tip-off, so it's a very reasonable time. February 22nd, get your tickets now because after Boise State, that's going to be the next game that sells out.
Yeah, it's a very popular ticket. I've seen also on the secondary sites for some of these games, ticket prices are going up through the roof. Before tip-off in Reno, you could get tickets for $12. You can be a part of the callback, the action right now. Let us know your thoughts on the A being blue here in Cache Valley tonight. The Aggies picking up a road win over the Wolfpack. 435-554-1175 for the text line. 435-753-KVNU for the phone calls. Who's up next?
13-26. Aggies have incredible depth. I didn't love some of the lineups tonight, but the Aggies have so many ways to beat you. We forced a few too many threes in the first half. I think it was pretty similar to San Diego State, just not as egregiously bad and obviously terrible in this first half. But yeah, they were trying to force some of those transition threes like we saw in the first half against San Diego State. And again, some of those entry passes that we saw, some of those inlet passes were very strong, but they're either getting knocked away as soon as they get inside or the target of the pass is not handling the ball well. Everyone was just rusty for the first 15 minutes of that game. And they knocked it off, and they figured it out. Utah State's always been a second-half team, but, man, I can't imagine what the ceiling is going to be if they can clean up that first half.
Oh, we're 13-1, 3-0 in conference play, still have not played a complete game. I would argue that there's a little bit one of the things in the second half that I did just notice looking at the points, turnovers. Remember, we were talking at halftime, and I circled it, and I said, this 10 right here is horrible. Well, the second 20 minutes of play, the Aggies only turned the ball over 4 times, which they were giving away points.
And that's one of the first things that Calhoun said in his post-game comments, too, is, we went in at halftime, and we saw that turnover number and said, hey, we got to take better care of the basketball. That partially meant slowing down their offense a little bit because a lot of those turnovers were guys trying to force passes, trying to hustle the ball down the floor, trying to force balls into areas that were not open yet. So it's good that they were able to read that and adjust that. But then also, for as much credit as we're giving Jerrod Calhoun for making the adjustments and reading the game as well as he does, you got to give credit to the guys that are executing those visions too. It's incredible, especially when you have to overcome the mental yuck that is that first half for Ian Martinez and him coming out and being 17 straight points for Utah State. He and Tucker Anderson are the only two Aggies with points after 12 and a half minutes left in the second half. There's so much that you can build off for this team, not only from a coaching perspective where you've got a guy that reads the game so well and can make those adjustments, but you've got a roster that can execute the adjustments. You don't get that a lot as a coach in basketball. You have, rosters of guys that can execute and guys that can't execute. Up and down the roster right now, there's 9 guys that you can put on the floor that you can trust in that situation, and that is rare, and that is a blessing for Jerrod Calhoun.
That is a deep rotation for our Aggies to be able to take care of. You're listening to Aggie Calls. Dr. Jukes, J.D. Walker with you. Phone line open, 435-753-5868. That's KVNU. Or you can hit the text line, 435-554-1175. And next up,
65-43. Looks like the Aggies will dominate what's looking to be a very weak conference this year. Weak conference? What?
Well, remember, the Mountain West was supposed to 6 teams to the tournament, and there's been some disappointment. I mean,
here's how the standings look in the Mountain West right now. You've got Utah State, Boise State, New Mexico all at 3-0. Utah State's 13-1. Boise State and New Mexico are both 11-3. UNLV's 8-5 at 2-0 in conference. Colorado State's 8-6, 2-1 in conference.
But all those guys, UNLV, Colorado State, and all those are underperforming so far this year.
San Diego State 8-3, 1-1 in conference. I mean, San Diego State is 6th in conference right now, and they were ranked 20th 5 days ago. If that's a weak conference, then man, oh man, I'd hate to be in a strong conference.
Well, I think it's on the perspective of tournament bids. Like this team, 6 tournament bids last year.
Yeah, it's 6-bid league.
Yeah,
it's probably going to be a 4-bid league this year for sure. But to say it's weak is, I don't think it's weak. Maybe comparatively to what it was last season, it's not as strong. But it's still one of the top 5 hardest conferences in college basketball.
I only see a 2-team at this point, and Boise's going to have to do a lot of work to get in there. San Diego State and the Aggies, I see up there, but everybody else is going to have to do work.
It's going to be Utah State, San Diego State, Boise State, and then it'll be between New Mexico and UNLV for that 4th spot. And then if someone outside of those 4 wins the conference, there's an auto bid 5th. But I see at least 4 right now.
Yeah, I think it's been a down year for the Mountain West, and Wyoming taking out the Wolfpack and doing some of those things the way Colorado State's playing. Yeah, I'll disagree or agree to disagree. I think we're at a 2-bid league, and if somebody gets upset going to the Mountain West Conference, you could see it causing some problems. Next up on the text line. We got, 2444?
24-44, 3 straight Q1 road wins. What a feat. It was so great to see Ian get going again, too. This team just has so many guys capable of carrying the team on a given night. Yeah, that's exactly kind of what we were getting into about the depth is, look, when someone doesn't have it, someone else is there. And you don't get that a lot as a coach. A lot of times you have to find ways to just plug the holes while your guy is on the bench and needs some water or just isn't hitting that night. You can move the ball around and just kind of see who's going to have the hot hand because you've got a ton of guys who are potentially the hot hand on any given night.
Yeah, and like Ian, and also to teammates and Ian and coach, everybody for their patience to kind of let things cook. Not get, we kind of live in a microwave time these days where we want everything now, we want instant change, but that's not life. Life takes time and things, and
that's where we're getting nitpicky with like the Isaac Johnson stuff. He's gonna be fine. He's still
love
a good
the fact.
basketball player, but if we're gonna think about where is this team not quite perfect yet, because when you're this good, you have to think, okay, well, where are we bad? That's one of the areas they struggle, but there's a text here, 5822, if Isaac Johnson is your 10th best player, not saying he is, then you're in a very good spot.
Absolutely.
That's absolutely correct, because he still hit that opening shot of the game. He's still shown flashes of being who he was in March. It's just, like Eric said, might still be on that track of, hey, it takes him until about mid-January to really get going.
And you know what? If it takes him mid-January and he starts hitting the big shots in conference play in the tournament, we're not going to remember any of this come down the road. You can sound off 435-554-1175. Locker 42, a store for Aggie fans by Aggie fans. And overwhelmed with Medicare rules, regulations, and questions, LSS Insurance can walk you through every option available at zero cost to you. Call them today, 752-9493.
Moving up to 0783, it's nice to have some breathing room for a slip-up fluke loss or two. About the only 2 teams we explicitly cannot afford to lose to, even on the road, are Fresno State and Air Force. Yeah, I would agree with that. Air Force 3-10, 0-2 in conference. Fresno State 4-10, 0-3 in conference. Those are just inexcusable Q4 wins if that were for some reason to happen. But then even, 0-3 Nevada, 0-3 San Jose State, those are still decent teams. And 0-3 Nevada, 8-6 overall now. That was a Q1 win that Utah State just picked up. And they're bottom of the conference, and that's kind of why I'm struggling to buy into this weak conference thing, is because it's not.
I think maybe in play is going to beat up, but I'm looking at it from the outside of tournament bids. I don't think we're seeing more than 2 from this conference. They're going to keep beating each other up. And look, San Diego State's ranked. They barely put Utah State getting any votes. Who's going to be next? Boise's dropped some big games. UNLV's a pretender. And, it's really just San Diego State right now.
Well, I mean, the good news is the AP voters don't choose the bracket. So I think especially like the people that do assemble the bracket, even right now, if the tournament were to happen right now and you can excuse New Mexico for that New Mexico State loss, and you can excuse Colorado State because they haven't been that good, and you can excuse Nevada because they're 0-3 in conference. If you don't put Utah State, Boise State, and San Diego State in the field, you're wrong.
I disagree. I think Boise has to win the championship to get in or go on a heck of a run, and because they have already dropped some early in the season. They need help. I saw an early bracketology thing today, and it did have San Diego State and Utah State in it, but those were the only representatives from. So that's what I say in a weak conference, because there was expecting to be a bigger, flashier start to the year, and some of those teams have struggled a little bit. Some of them have been surprising. The Cowboys have been really surprising in Wyoming to me, holding us so close just a couple of weeks ago and then taking out UNR a couple of days ago. They're turning out to be tough. I get what you're saying. I think this division's going to beat up on each other, but I don't think that outside, we kind of see that same stuff with the Boise State, stuff like that in football. It does
hurt. The San Francisco loss early in the season is going to hurt Boise State for a while. Boston College, 2-point loss. That one you can, kind of go back and forth on. Washington State, 5-point loss. That one you can go back and forth on. This team also did beat St. Mary's. Boise State did. So,
on a neutral site in Idaho. Yeah, like in Idaho Falls or just down the road. Yeah, it's not.
I get it, but it's still St. Mary's. So, and look, this conference is going to cannibalize itself at some point. It's just,
and the more it does the less I think the bids will come from the outside.
But I still think you have enough of a track record the last couple years with the evidence that we've kind of seen over the last couple of years. I mean, San Diego State was an Elite Eight team last year and a Final Four national championship runner-up team 2 years ago. I think that there is a lot of talent here, and the only reason that they're getting dismissed is because of the title of the conference, which is why I'm thrilled that we're moving up to the Pac-12 in about a year and a half. And yeah, maybe this is a 2-bid league, but for me, it should be at minimum 3. Nationally, maybe when you talk about strictly the field of 68, not as strong as it was last year. Competition-wise, might be stronger than it was last year.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that. Aggie call here, 435-554-1175. Phone lines open, 435-753-5868. That's KVNU. 4829. The best case scenario. This was the best case scenario for Utah State. 3-0, the toughest stretch of the year. Now 2 big home games coming up next week, so you need to pack the Spectrum, give the boys support that they deserve. It's going to be packed. There's less than 50 tickets left for both games.
And that really truly was best case scenario for Utah State. Even if you stretch it to the last 4 games and you include, I believe it was that UC San Diego loss is that 4th most recent game. We expected to be 3-1 after that 4-game stretch. I thought the loss was going to be at San Diego. I didn't think it was going to be to UC San Diego at home. But then huge win at St. Mary's, even bigger win at San Diego State, really solid win at Nevada where you had to deal with some, bad basketball in the first half and overcome some adversity. Again, a team that can build its own momentum, can find its own edge, can create its own momentum. It's lots of good things for this team. And I really think that this ended up being a little bit better than I thought it was going to go, which is shocking to say and to be digesting at this point. But, man, that UC San Diego game, if that goes 2 more possessions, I think Utah State might be 14-0 right now, and that's a really good place to be at. Better than best case scenario, in my opinion.
From 9315. With the record and resume we're building, I almost start to think Coach Calhoun is for real when he opened up his first press conference saying we can make a national championship. That is usually just Coach speak and serious. Hey, nothing that Coach has done so far with how he's handling this team, how in-game transition, nothing he has shown me, Stockton, lets me doubt him one bit.
No, not at all.
Not at all. Like, this guy could come up to me and say, I can file your taxes, change out your transmission. I'd be like, here's the keys, Coach. Go for it.
If he told me right now that if I cut my left hand off, we'd win a national championship the next 5 years, I'd do it without blinking.
All right. I admire your dedication, and I will support you and help you in your healing process, but I am not going to go that far. I'd like to keep all my appendages. This is Aggie Call here on KVNU 102.1 FM, 610 AM, and online at kvnutalk.com. We'll get more of your reactions on the text line and also break down some team and individual stats. We'll be back for our last segment here on KVNU Aggie Call.
And Mint mailing systems from Les Olson IT, you can quickly, accurately, and easily process your outgoing mail and even save on postage. Fold your documents, stuff and seal your envelopes, print addresses, weigh and measure to apply proper postage, all with the click of a button. With multiple model options available, you're sure to find a Formax solution and Mint mailing device that perfectly fits your business needs.
Les Olson IT.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. A few years ago, I saw this sign hanging in a gas station. It said price, quality, service. Pick 2 out of the 3. Now, it's funny, and I did laugh, but at My Mattress, we don't even want to do business unless we can do all 3. Price, quality, and service. We have a 90-day sleep guarantee, 90-day price guarantee, and we will answer the phone if you have a warranty concern. At My Mattress, we deliver, we have financing, we strive to be price, quality, and service every day. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally? Only at My Mattress.
Advanced Heating and AC, the gold medal winner in the Best of Northern Utah, is teaming up with Carrier Heating and Cooling. Carrier provides you with the best furnace units available. And now is the best time to buy a new unit before the weather turns Cache Valley cold. Financing options are available. Turn to the experts at Advanced Heating and AC and Carrier. Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning at 752-7272. Stop by their showroom west of DI. Online, advancedheating-ac.com.
You know you recognize that song. I'm talking to you, class of 1976. Hi, this is Rusty Allen with LSS Insurance, and turning 65 means it's time to talk Medicare. LSS is here to help. Call 752-9493 for help with Medicare. As your local agent, we will research benefits, costs, and look up prescriptions so there aren't any surprises at the pharmacy. Call LSS at 752-9493.
Happy holidays from the entire team at Adams Wealth Advisors. As we celebrate the joy of this season, it's also time to plan for a financially sound future. Wondering about tax strategies or required investment distributions? Adams Wealth Advisors has the answers. The Adams Wealth team is here to guide you through any complexities and ensure a prosperous new year. Happy holidays from Adams Wealth Advisors, where achieving your financial goals is their mission. Call today to schedule an appointment, 752-1702, or search Adams Wealth Advisors online.
This Aggie broadcast is brought to you by Cafe Sabor, your favorite Latino restaurant in the historic train station on 6th West and Center on News Talk KVNU.
Welcome back to a beautiful blue night in Cache Valley. The Aggies picking up the win over the Nevada Wolfpack. The Aggies 13-1, starting conference play 3-0, undefeated. J.D. Walker with Stockton Jukes here on Aggie Call. 435-554-1175 to text in your reactions or give us a call, 435-753-5868 at 753-KVNU. And who are we up to now? I think it's 07. No, we did 07 that day.
Yeah, we had a question about the score prediction winner. And then also the fast break point disparity, 20-3 is wild. I know we have different styles, but that's a huge difference. Yeah, that's I think one of the things that kind of changed how this game ended up being played. You look at just having those 3 for Nevada. When you play against a team like Utah State, you want to move quickly so that they don't have time to establish that matchup zone. And the longer time that they have to go sit down in their zones and read the offense and be able to shift over to kind of where your assignments are and where your best matchups are, you've got to be able to play quick transition ball to avoid that. 13 turnovers. Again, Utah State gave up 10 turnovers in the first half, and to only have 3 points off of a fast break when you're generating turnovers most of the time in that first half outside of the 3-point line with a couple coming right inside the paint, that is just a huge missed opportunity and something that I'm sure that they'll be looking at when they go to film review. Now, the score prediction winner, this texter, 1326, guessed 75-69. Unfortunately, we had someone guess 73-69, and 83-50 is going to be our winner tonight. 73-69, closest in terms of both the point total and the point differential. So 83-50, go ahead and send us a text with your name, and we will fill out that Sabor gift certificate and leave it for you at the front desk. Next chance to win one is on Saturday. We take the score predictions starting that morning up until about a minute before tip-off, and we do have the time signatures on here for all the texts. So
yeah, usually I try to get it, especially on a weekend game. I'll try to, usually little Stacey Walker, cutest 3-year-old you ever see, thinks Stockton is her hero. She wakes me up really early, so I make sure to get the stuff out there and let everybody know, because I really appreciate you guys interacting with us, giving you your calls, your text. It's what makes this program go, and I'd love to be able to team up with Cafe Sabor to hook you up. They have locations in Idaho Falls, Rexburg, Bear Lake, Layton, Cedar City, St. George, and right around the corner from the studios here at the mothership. Breaking news. We have found from this coming from Reno, Nevada right now. Also, it looks like the place is burning down a little bit. Coach Halford says the reason why the Wolfpack did not win was the band wasn't there for UNR. So with that being said, I can see how that would make a difference. Shout out to Logan High School for supplying their band to the Spectrum while the students were away on break. And maybe that's a little bit of the magic, but sounds like Alford really likes to complain about a lot of stuff. I know him from my time down in Las Vegas and, from the Rebels and things like that. But guy likes to complain about everything. Find it. The band wasn't in the building. That's why Ian Martinez went Superman on us in the second half. Is this just par for the course, guy? This guy, Stockton? Does he complain a lot, or is he? I'm seeing a lot. Comment. I'm seeing a lot where he said, hey, they didn't come here to play us or something. So I guess you really have to be careful with sound bites these days when you're a coach or a player.
All I'm going to say is they were real cocky in that press conference with those 4 seniors after losing to Wyoming about, Utah State didn't come to Lawlor. Where did that get you? What now? What's next for you guys?
I just want to point out, if people really want to go to Reno, like if people really want to go to a place like Reno, they're going to go to Vegas. They're not going to go to Reno.
Yeah,
maybe that's where the band was.
I've gone to Nevada twice in my life. I've been to Las Vegas, and I've been to Wendover. I've never been to Reno.
Mm-hmm. Wendover's probably nicer than some places in Reno.
That's what I've heard.
It's a really different place.
And I hated it, so.
Yeah. So you can sound out 435-554-1175. Looking at some team stats now for our Utah State Aggies. When it comes to field goal percentage, 3-point shooting, they took it just barely over the Wolfpack. Free throws, kind of one thing you could star a little bit of a question mark. They shooting 72%, the Wolfpack 75%. The Aggies were out-rebounded 35-27, but on the defensive boards is where it mattered for the Aggies. They were able to pick up 22-19 against the Wolfpack. The Wolfpack won in assists, and that's about it. Steals for the Aggies, 10. Blocks, 4. Aben Gadarazzi having 4 of those. 14 turnovers. And this is a really huge stat right here. The Wolfpack had 13 turnovers. The Aggies scored 13 points off of that. The Aggies had 14 turnovers. The Wolfpack scored 17 points off that. That's another area of concern. Looking fast break points, the Aggies smoked them 20-3. And fouls, actually kind of low for this game. If you had the over-under of the fouls in the Aggies versus Wolfpack game at 29, congratulations. I think that's the lowest foul total of the year so far, Stockton.
Well, it's crazy, too, because I feel like at certain times in that first half, there was a whistle every 15 freaking seconds. So, I'm liking that this team is becoming more disciplined, and we still see some overly aggressive fouls every now and then. But the other part of that is, hey, if you're going to generate 13 turnovers off the other team, you are going to need to be somewhat aggressive. And Utah State's been better about, more than 13 turnovers that they're generating in a lot of these games they're playing. So I'm okay with the aggression. I mean, as long as you're not getting yourself into foul trouble late in the game and putting them at the line for one-on-ones or even double bonuses late on, then I'm not too upset about it. And especially because that number is starting to wind down a little bit, I think that you're okay with letting them be aggressive. Now, the other thing, too, is Jordy Barnes got called for a couple different reaches, and maybe Jordy didn't have as good of a game as we've kind of gotten accustomed to seeing from him off the bench, but that's okay in games like this.
I felt like he played a role, though, in settling things down.
He did, and that's the thing is it's not always going to show up on the the scoring totals or on the assists and rebound totals, because just being able to move the ball efficiently early in a possession or being physical and being aggressive. Like there was this one reach where it was kind of a dumb foul, but at the same time, you don't really mind because of what else he's able to do and the pressure he's able to apply subconsciously. So those are things that will continue to trend down, and there are going to be games for the rest of the season where the foul totals are high. You're going to see some guys get into foul trouble. We're going to see a really bad foul out at some point this season, but that's just kind of a part of the branding, and I'm okay with that because I love the uptick in aggression from this team this year.
So I'm looking, and the ball handlers were Alberry, probably Akano a little bit, but primarily Alberry and Barnes. Barnes in there for 16 minutes, no turnovers, the 2 personal fouls, 3 points. He did hit that 3-point shot that he got open. I felt like he calmed things down. Now, here's what just jumped out of the individual stat sheet, and here's why I will give Player of the Week honors to Mason over Ian. Ian only took a 2-minute breather for the whole game. Mason, 38 minutes.
Which is crazy because he played 36 on Saturday.
Man. Like, the guy is the Energizer Bunny, just keeps going and going, and it's not like you see a fall off on that play. You still see him diving for balls and taking shots to the face, and this guy's just got the motor that...
It's because he played football, JD.
Man, we were trying to get through it without
He's got high snap count stamina.
Yeah, some of the broadcasts are funny. Like this one, we were thankful we could hear anything because some of the transitions were a little bit rough, and thankful that Scotty and the guys had the call on the radio, and they're always professionals about it. But Mountain West Network today had a little bit of trouble for those of us watching at home. Going through some individual stats now, talking about Mason Falslev. 38 minutes, 6 for 10 from the field, 2 for 3 from three-point land. If we're going to nitpick, and that's what we're doing, free throws. So that just kind of...
Yeah, that's the one thing I will always nitpick, and I will never feel bad about getting on people for it. Those are free points.
Yeah, I get it. I won't get on people for missing their free throws because
every coach I've ever had jumped down my throat when I missed a free throw, and it's the best way to do it because it's free throw, like it's literal free points that they're giving you at the line. All you got to do is be able to hit like an 18-foot little elbow clicker thing. Like you follow the fundamentals, and it shouldn't be that hard. Now, you take into consideration the arena, the situation, the noise, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, those are going to affect your shot, and that is going to kind of change free points into a pressure situation. That being said, free throws never change. It's always from the same spot, from the same distance, at the same height of the basket for the same amount of points. You should be able to, at this level specifically, you should be able to drill free throws into your body so much so that you can plug your ears and close your eyes and still hit your free throws. And again, this is why it was so shocking with Mason today, is because of how consistent he is in every aspect of his game. He's such a good ball player in every aspect of the game that's just so uncharacteristic. Now, it's going to happen, and you're going to have uncomfortable free throws that you got to take, and you're going to have to overcome crowd noise and all this stuff. But to me, that's the one thing that is easiest to deal with, all the outside noise, all the extracurriculars that come with free throws, because it should be muscle memory. I mean, that's just how I feel about it, but it's one thing that if we're going to nitpick, then we really need to nitpick, because free throws are, in the name, it's free. It's 3 points.
Yeah, and it is something that this team needs to improve on. If you go back to the only blemish on the record, UC San Diego, 70% from the line, 17 to 24. You make a couple of those, that swings the other way. That's how close the margin is. And here, 13 for 18. And, I mean, the Wolfpack didn't do themselves any favor, shooting 9 for 12. I mean, 75% there. But also, the Wolfpack weren't shooting well from the floor either. But that's just one of those things. But along with that, with Mason, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 steals. Like, that is a complete game. I know he got close to a triple-double a couple of weeks ago. But when I see a stat line like that, Stockton, I see a guy who did everything and was willing to be the facilitator, the rebounder, to go get – and he wasn't getting just balls that bounced off the rim. He was fighting under the basket for him.
He had a huge one in, like, the last minute and a half where he fights through 3 different bodies and just pokes it out and chases it down on the near sideline. That's one of the best things about Mason Falslev, is not his scoring proficiency, is not his ability to go toe-to-toe physically with people in the paint. It's his ability to read the game and recognize when it's not his time to shoot. We saw it when he gave that ball to Tucker Anderson with 6.5 seconds left at Viejas on Saturday night, and we saw it in the second half tonight, where Ian Martinez and Tucker Anderson are the only 2 Aggies to score points in the final 12.5 minutes of that game. And that's not 12.5 minutes of real time. That's 12.5 minutes of regulation time. So really, like 35 to 45 minutes, where those are the only 2 guys that are scoring for Utah State. And Mason Falslev is facilitating a lot of it, because he realizes that, hey, it's not my time right now. I'm not the hot hand right now. So how can I best serve my team?
And, man, that's what I think a definition of a good leader, a good team leader, is somebody who elevates those around him, recognizes the strengths and the weaknesses and guards those weaknesses, and then showcases those strengths. And I think we're seeing Mason do that. I think Jordy Barnes does a great job of doing that too. He's got a passing ability that he's going to get a touch for, and his teammates are going to get a touch for. But there's other things. One thing, that the turnovers in the first half, that's got to be something solved. 4 turnovers in the second half, I think, is great for our Aggies. But my 3 stars of the night here, as we're getting into the final minutes here, Stockton, I've got to go Mason as my first, Ian as my second, and Mr. Anderson from the Matrix being my 3rd star. 16 points tonight, 3 assists, 1 rebound, but 5 for 5 from the charity stripe. 1 for 5 from 3-point land, and then Mr. Pau Gasol decided to do it from the field goal, 5 for 9. So big game for Tucker, and I'm going to let you, as we get ready to roll out here, just go through the Ian Martinez highlight reel of the second half.
Yeah, 17 points that all came, like I said, under 12.5 minutes to go in the game. Ian Martinez went on a personal 17-0 run where he was the only guy to score for 17 straight points, 6 for 11 field goals, only 1 for 6 from 3, and a lot of those missed threes came early in the game where he's just trying to find that shot, but 4 for 4 from the free throw line, especially late in the game when it matters. 3 assists, 2 rebounds, 3 fouls. Just a really good second half for him. I will say, I think my top 3 is probably the exact same as yours, but I'm going to shake up the order a bit. I'm going to put Tucker Anderson as my first star, because that's 2 back-to-back huge games for Tucker, and he's really starting to come into his own. I was begging for it in those first 10 games. I was begging for him to find that shot and get going on offense, and he's done it, and I love it. Second star will go to Mason because of just how consistent, how awesome he is, and I do agree with you. I think he's going to be Mountain West Player of the Week again, because it's 2.
The 5-time.
We're so used to seeing him score 14, 16 points a game that it doesn't feel as special as it truly is for him anymore.
Like, come on, man.
14, 6, and 5 is a crazy stat line, but it's just normal for Mason now. And then Ian's going to be my third star because it was very shaky for him for the first 30 minutes of the game. But, man, when he found it, he found it.
He stuck with it, too. And Coach Calhoun is sticking with his guys, believing in them, knowing what he's seeing in the program. Look, I can be instantaneous and knee-jerk reaction, too, and I see people on social media and X and stuff, like, changing it. But kudos to Coach Calhoun for weathering any storm or rough rapids that they have, and they're putting it all together. Coming into our final couple minutes here on KVNU Aggie Call, celebrating a win over the Wolfpack tonight. Your Utah State Aggies 13-1, 3-0 in conference. Up next, we come home, Stockton. We come back to the Spectrum, and we welcome the Fresno State Bulldogs into town. 4-10, 0-3 in conference, and the early predictor matchup has the Aggies 89 or 98% on this one to 1%.
Yeah, it's a shock of a lifetime right there.
You think it's going to be a good night to come back to the Spectrum? Of course, we don't want to take anything for granted, but are you seeing an Aggie win this weekend too?
As long as this doesn't turn into a trap game for them. I'm actually genuinely starting to be concerned about a trap game because you come home to a place that you're comfortable after the 4 hardest games of your season in a row. By the way, that's no question that was the hardest stretch of the schedule for Utah State this year. From UC San Diego up until that game right there, that was the hardest stretch of schedule that we'll have all season, and we won the 3 that really mattered. So that's big. But this could turn into a trap game because now you do kind of get to relax a little bit and play a team that you are expected to win against by every metric by a lot. And if you get too comfortable and you drop your head a little bit, this could turn into a New Mexico State game where you just get shocked on your home court by a Q4 team. I don't think it'll happen. I don't, for any reason, I've not seen anything that would indicate that could happen, but sports are crazy.
Oh, yes,
and trap games exist for a reason. So I would hope that they are going to be cautious and very cognizant of, the fact this is still D1 basketball, but if anyone is prepared to deal with the rest of the season, it's Jerrod Calhoun because he's been phenomenal.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for us here on Aggie Call. The Aggies make it a blue New Year's Eve here in Cache Valley. That's going to wrap it up for Stockton Jukes. I'm J.D. Walker. We will see you back here for the matchup against Fresno State. Coming up on the 4th this Saturday, KVNU Aggie Call tips off at 6 o'clock. We'll see you then. Have a great night, Cache Valley. Be safe. Do not drink and drive. Make sure you get into 2025 in one piece, and we'll see you then.
Utah State broadcast has been a presentation of News Talk KVNU and the Cache Valley Media Group, the heritage home for the Aggies.